people, welcome to or welcome back to my channel. It has been a very long time since I last posted, so we're coming back with a bang. I have 7 days of videos planned out, so this is part 1 of this 7-day series. I made a whole slideshow to further explain this, so roll the slideshow.
Hello, I'm Krisha, if you didn't already know. I absolutely love to bake, but I haven't been able to in a little while. So I'm doing this small challenge to bring back my ability to bake somewhat pretty good. I hope you learned something as well during this week's baking frenzy. So, how does this work? Basically, how this challenge works is, every single day until the 4th of September, I will be baking something new. And I'll be posting a video of how to make it every single day for the rest of this week. So today's video is part 1 of the 7-day series. To start off simple and easy, I will be baking lemon brownies today. And for the quote of the day, success is not final, failure is not fatal. It is the courage to continue that counts.
Like always, welcome to my kitchen, and as I mentioned in the slideshow, we are going to be making lemon brownies. So, the ingredients you'll need for this recipe is obviously lemon cake mix. You can use any type of cake mix you like. Just for this recipe, I'm using lemon since we're making lemon brownies. Obviously, you are going to have to go with the instructions on the back, and I'm using the Betty Crocker Super Moist Lemon Cake Mix. And for this cake mix, you're going to need about half a cup of vegetable oil. I'm using canola oil. 2 medium-sized eggs. These should be about room temperature. And you can use about 1 cup of either water or milk. I decided to go with milk. And for the glaze, you're going to need 1 cup of powdered sugar, confectioner sugar, or icing sugar. It doesn't matter. It just has to be really powdery and fine. And you're also going to need about 2 tablespoons of water. Let's get to the baking. For this process, I'm using a stand mixer. Obviously, you can use a whisk and a bowl, it just might take a little bit longer. So, we're going to be cutting into our bag. And just pouring it into the bowl. Next, I'm going to add in my vegetable oil. And I'm just gonna let that beat at about speed 2, just for a little bit until the vegetable oil has mixed in. It has been a little while, and now I'm gonna be adding in my 1 cup of milk. And I'm gonna let that beat for about a minute or so. At the same speed too. My batter is looking a little bit liquidy, but it looks very yellow, and that is the exact thing I am going for. Now it's time to add in the eggs. So I'm just gonna add it one by one. And now that I've added in both of my eggs, we're going to do the final mixing. This time at the speed 4. It smells and looks absolutely delicious. So now I'm just going to scrape down the sides just to make sure no powder, eggs, milk, or oil has been left. The good thing about this batter is that it's not too thick and not too thin, so it's the perfect consistency. Now, time to prepare the pan. To prepare this pan for the brownie mix, I will be taking some vegetable oil, a little brush, and this small piece of parchment paper. First, I'm gonna dip my brush into the oil and I'm just gonna brush it all over the pan, like so. You want to make sure to get into the sides as well. Don't be afraid to put a little too much. A little does not go a long way in this case. You want this pan to be well greased or oiled or buttered so that the cake does not get stuck to any of the sides. Now that I'm finished with that, I'm gonna take this little piece of parchment paper and just put it on the bottom there. Because the oil is there, it will help the parchment paper stick down on all sides so you won't have any brownie or cake batter seeping in through the sides and you'll have an uneven base. Okay, now I'm gonna bring in the cake batter and we're going to prepare the oven. I have preheated my oven. It should be finished just in a little bit. In the meantime, we're gonna prepare the cake and put it inside the pan. While the oven is preheating, I am just going to give the cake batter a little mix and we're just gonna straight pour it into this pan. Once you pour in all of your cake or brownie batter, you're gonna want to take your spatula and kind of smoothen it on the top so that you don't have any lumpy tops. Like so. You wanna get into all those corners, all of the edges. Until it looks somewhat like this. And then I like to take the pan and just so that it gets all the air bubbles out. And then I like to take my spatula and kind of give it a little mix just around. And then I smooth it in again. And then I repeat the process. Like so. My oven has finally finished preheating, so we're gonna put the brownie cake inside. You wanna be really careful with this. I'm using an oven mitt, but make sure if you're doing this at home, you have parental supervision. Just gonna put it in. We're gonna set the timer now. I'm gonna set the timer for about 30 minutes. But you just wanna look at the instructions on your cake box thing. And mine said about 28 to 30 minutes, so I'm gonna put about 30 and we're gonna check it in about 25-ish minutes. We'll be back. While the cake is in the oven, I'm going to be making the glaze. So take your 1 cup of powdered confectioner or just icing sugar and just put it in your mixer or your bowl. And then take your 2 tablespoons of water and pour it in. Now you're gonna want to let this whisk for about 2 to 3 minutes or until it's really smooth. Occasionally, after you are about 1/3 of the way into your mixing process, you're gonna want to scrape down the sides because a lot of the powdered confectioner or icing sugar is going to kind of go off on the sides. And so you just want to scrape it down so you get as much glaze as possible. After about 3 minutes of mixing and scraping, this is what the consistency of my glaze looks like. If you want it to be a little bit thicker, you can always add in some more of your sugar, but I find this to be the perfect consistency. Now I'm just going to let this chill in the fridge for a little bit until my brownie cake has finished baking. We are at the 15-minute mark. And this is what the brownie cake looks like. It is definitely rising. It looks really good, and it also smells really good. We're almost there. So the brownie cake has finally finished. So I'm just gonna take it out. Whoa, look at that. And just to make sure, I am also going to use a little fork and check it. Looks pretty good to me. Nothing really came out. Perfect. Now I'm just gonna let this sit here for a little bit until it is completely cool. So my brownie cake is almost completely done cooling. So I'm just going to take it right here and put it on this little cake stand so that I can now take it out of the pan. So we're just gonna carefully take a knife and cut at the sides. Until it starts to release. You want to be very careful with this process because you don't want to cut into your brownie cake. And now I'm just gonna put on my gloves because the pan is a little bit hot. We're gonna flip this over and it comes right out. Perfect. It smells so delicious. And the parchment paper comes out really easily. And this is just perfect. Now I'm just gonna take my hands, I'm gonna flip this over really carefully. And I'm just gonna cut away at the little caramelizations. So trying to kind of level it if possible. Maybe just remove a little layer at the top. I don't want to go too deep into the cake. It's very moist, like it said on the box. So it might be a little difficult to cut it. I have a little pan beside me just to keep it clean. And I will be back when I'm completely done leveling this cake. Now I have my glaze right here, fresh from the fridge, and I'm just going to carefully, really carefully pour it on top of the brownie cake while it is still nice and warm. Like so. Delicious. Now I'm just gonna let this sit for a bit and then I'm gonna put this in the fridge to cool completely for about 20-ish minutes until the glaze is perfectly chilled and solid. And then we're gonna cut into it and we're gonna enjoy. My brownie cake has been in the fridge for about 20-25-ish minutes, and now I'm gonna cut into it. You can cut this into any shape you want, but I'm gonna go with the classic square shapes. I'm just gonna cut up 2 lines, and then I'm gonna turn it to the side and I'm going to do the same thing, except I'm gonna cut 2 lines. And now we have piece. I decided to keep a little caramelization on the bottom here just for a little added flavor. Let's try it. That is really good. If you guys do end up trying it, please make sure to tell me down in the comment section down below. I hope you enjoyed this video. And that's how you make lemon brownies. If you like this video, be sure to hit that like button, subscribe, and hit that notification bell. The notification bell so you get notified every time I post a new video. Also, be sure to follow along on this 7-day series. I wonder what tomorrow has in store for us. See you next time!